Hello, my name is Gabriel Helm, and today I will be reviewing The Culture of Beauty by Gale and Context, their opposing viewpoints series, against the textbook Gender, Ideas, Interactions, Institutions by Lisa Wade and Myra Marks-Faree, assigned to the class of Sex and Gender by Michael Johnston. The topics covered in this podcast will be a description of what this book is about, the takeaways from the book, comparing to the textbook, as well as the strengths and weaknesses of it, and how it can be applied to different gender-related issues in society. To begin with, the book, as it is representing opposing viewpoints, has many different chapters with different focuses. For example, some chapters discuss the positivities and negativities of the standards of beauties that are in the American system, as well as whether or not they're changing or stagnant, whether or not they're unrealistic, or whether or not they aid women, whether or not there is pretty privilege, should people focus on self-acceptance, as well as whether or not the beauty industry is a positive or negative beast. Lastly, it discusses whether or not women should or should not follow the beauty standard. Now, these are just some of the topics that are covered, and I will discuss only a few of these in the podcast today. This book attempts to create the best reasoned arguments for each side of viewpoint and how it suits and supports people or goes against what is truly valuable to the American and world public. The first argument that I will be addressing today in the viewpoint series is that whether or not the standards of beauty are based on culture or whether or not they're universal. The Culture of Beauty argues that, by Elizabeth Quill, who's a researcher in the field, argues that beauty is objective and that they're innately attractive qualities. These qualities are hyper-feminized or hyper-masculinized. Both of these things are naturally selected to be the best of the best, and that is why in most every culture certain traits are exhibited by both males and females. So one could argue that the beauty industry is not manufacturing what the male and female population should see or want to. It is what they actually want to see, is what they find attractive. However, Leah Hoffel takes the counter-argument and says that the standards of beauty are, in fact, based on culture. That beauty industries such as cosmetics, as well as fashion, dictate what is beauty, and that is constantly changing, as that different trends always take place, which can be seen throughout American history, as in different makeups, different outfits, and different preferences on body hair are often seen. Comparing it to the textbook, however, the textbook supports the notion that beauty is a culturally constructed thing, and that, for example, there are social roles that people are expected to fulfill, and these social roles are gendered, and certain people are expected to participate or not participate in them. For example, high heels. Those are a constantly evolving fashion trend. No one innately is attracted to those, while some people might find height attractive. The preference on how tall a sexual partner is subject to change, which supports Hoffel's viewpoint, as seen on page 119 in Ability, Age, and Attractiveness. To move on to strengths and weaknesses in the book, it is very strong that it represents both viewpoints and creates well-reasoned arguments as to why one might think that A is a valid response or B is a valid response. However, a weakness in the book is that it does not truly represent the impact of gender and how people are psychologically and sociologically pushed to conform to certain roles. It is not just a simple yes or no decision that the book Culture of Beauty decides to push. Different ways the textbook can be applied, not the textbook, the Culture of Beauty can be applied to other sex and gender related issues in society is allowing people who feel cornered and pushed into certain gender roles or the beauty standard recognize that it is a female-run, dominantly female-run organization, and that if one does not like the current trajectory of the beauty industry, to not participate in it and to forge your own path, as trends are constantly changing, and as we can see more so in the 21st century, as trends are always coming and going, perhaps quicker than they have in the past. Thank you, and that is the end of the podcast.